good morning, and welcome to another episode of NFL Alumni Tackle Obesity. My name is Richard Walker. I am your host, and we are finally at the fourth quarter of 2023. It is the end of the year. It is done. It is in the books. This is the last couple of seconds on the clock. So we're going to do sort of a recap here. I had the opportunity to speak to my good dear friend, two-time Super Bowl champion Tyrone Poole, former New England Patriots player who you might recall won the first two Super Bowls with Tom Brady and crew. And he is the author of a phenomenal book that you're going to hear about, and also he's a wellness coach. We do plan to have Mr. Poole back on at some point to answer your questions and to talk about Work That Thing, which is his supplement line. He's a nutrition coach. He's a wellness expert. And beyond that, he's just a life wellness coach. He's a great person. And it's such an honor to have him on the Tackle Obesity team. And we're so proud to be teammates with him. And we hope we win. We hope to win future Super Bowls in the battle against obesity with our dear friend Tyrone is our partner. So I'm going to go to that clip here in a second. I'm just going to encourage everyone. Don't let the end of the calendar be the end of your journey. Don't let the beginning of the calendar be your starting point. You know that you have an issue with obesity or its comorbidities. The time to start is now. So the way you do that is you go to tackleobesity.com. You can select myself or one of the other coaches, sign up for free coaching. The only thing that it requires is your commitment. So you can sign up for free coaching NFL alumni from an NFL alumni at tackleobesity.com. And also for this show, we're on every podcast platform. If you don't catch us live, we're on Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple Music, you name it. We're on every podcast platform on earth. So like, share, and subscribe as well. Also follow us on social media. So I'm going to go to this clip right now. And when we come back, I have a live Q&A session with my good friend, world-renowned ear, nose, and throat specialist, also a migraine specialist, Dr. Kevin Smith, who's also a member of the Brotherhood, I should add. He's a former Michigan Wolverines football player. So we're going to go to that clip with myself and my good friend Tyrone Poole. And when we come back, we'll talk to Dr. Smith. So go ahead and drop your questions that you have for Dr. Smith in the chat, and we'll get them to him while he's on live. You are tuned into the Tackle Obesity Show again. My name is Richard Walker. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Tackle Obesity Podcast. My name is Richard Walker of the NFL Alumni Association, and we are so glad to have you yet again on another wonderful Saturday morning. For those of us who are tuned in to the wonderful KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 Riverside, California, the station that leaves no listener behind. We thank you for joining this morning. And if you didn't get up on Saturday morning, that's fine. We're available on every podcast platform on this wonderful planet that we call Earth, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, and we're now available on Pandora. So if whatever way you're tuning in to check us out this morning, or this afternoon, we are so grateful to have you join us here on Tackle Obesity. We have a very, very, very special show today. This man's message is so powerful. He has so much to offer that we are literally, like a segment would do no justice. Half a show would do no justice. This man has so much to offer. We had to give him his own show. It is a pleasure to have my guest and good friend, Mr. Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, formerly also with the Denver Broncos, the Indianapolis Colts, the Carolina Panthers. Thank you so much for joining us. He's the author of the book called Work That Thing. Work That Thing, and tell us all about it, Mr. Poole.
Yeah, Richard, first and foremost, man, thank you for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to be in the presence of greatness, man. So, thank all your fans that are watching and listening. Again, thank God for the opportunity. But
Amen.
It's been a good journey. Like you named off all the teams. I think you didn't have to look at the paper. You could just look at the backdrop and
That's right.
all those helmets.
That's right.
But it's good to have had an opportunity to play a sport that majority of us as young men, grow up watching. And I know I grew up watching football. So to actually play it and now have an opportunity to have an impact on people's lives, it is good. And like you mentioned about the book, Work That Thing is the supplement company that I have. And Ultimate Success in the Game of Life is the book. So basically, both of them together, you have to work that thing if you want to have ultimate success in the game of life. And actually, Richard, ultimate success is not about money. The book is not about money. Actually, it's not about money, right? Even though we see ultimate success, you think that it's about money, but actually, the ultimate success is about overcoming obstacles, adversity, things that try to hinder us from getting to our finish line. Now, when I say finish line, I love track and field. I ran track when I was my collegiate days and in high school. So we all start off at a line, and we all come across what we call a finish line. But during that run, just like in life, we come into this world born, right? Birth, that's our start line. And then we get to our finish line, when you're actually, no longer breathing. So in between that birth and your death, just like in sports and track and field, from your start to your finish, there's always going to be obstacles and situations that will try to tire you out, to try to make you say, why did I do this? Why am I doing this? To make you quit. So ultimate success in the game of life has 12 dynamic principles that I've learned and that has helped me go from my start to a finish in one phase of my life. I like to call that level 1. Now I'm working on level 2, level 3, level 4. So every morning we wake up, we're exposed to another level. And that's another opportunity to achieve ultimate success in life. But life is not going to just hand it to you and say, here, Richard, here, Tyrone, here, whoever's watching, here you go. I'm going to give you success. It's easy. I'm going to put it in your lap. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to fight for it, man. You have to fight for it. You got to grind for it. You got to have that mindset that, what, I am the best. This is not going to beat me. I will find a way. I'll go through it, over it, around it, under it, but I'm going to get ultimate success. And again, that's what I've had to do. So that would encourage me to write the book. Ultimate Success is when you go from your start to your finish, and then you go to the next level. Start, finish, next level, start, finish, next level, start, finish. So in this book, it has 12 dynamic principles, Richard. And anybody that's looking to be motivated to get from your start to your finish, and in between adversity and roadblocks are going to happen, but 12 dynamic principles that will help you get through it, then you need to go to TyronePoole38.com, TyronePoole38.com. And I tell them, Richard, also to go to my website, because when you go to my website, you can get the book in any bookstore, but when you go to my website, you help me to help others, to help like what Richard is doing. Richard is giving me an opportunity to help people who are watching this program, people who will listen to this, to let them know that there are people who have run that race that you have run, okay? And there's information that will help you get from your start to your finish. So ultimate success in the game of life, come to my website. It helps me to be able to fully help other people, okay? So all the proceeds, basically what I'm saying, come to me, and it's not divided amongst other people. And I always say that, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, I'm saying it in a way to explain that there's not a shortage of money, there's a shortage of distribution. And when we put money in the wrong hands, it don't get to the people who really supposed to get it. Okay? And my purpose, I believe, praise God, is to use my gifts, use my talents to be able to draw in so that I can push out. So that's why I tell people to go to my website, TyronePoole38.com.
Right. Well, this is exciting. And one of the things that, so the premise of this show, first of all, we want to send a shout out to our sponsor, Novo Nordisk, who are very, very excellent partner in this, in their journey against obesity and diabetes, which is basically the opposite. The opposing, I should say, the teammate of obesity, one of the strongest teammates of obesity is diabetes. And Novo Nordisk is working very, very diligently on to address the diabetes epidemic. One of the things that was an alarming statistic that I learned from watching their CEO, Lars Jorgensen, on a recent interview, he talked about the post-COVID pandemic and how there's basically a second wave of a pandemic that's not being spoken about, and that's the pre-diabetic condition of America. They estimate that over 100 million people are in somewhat of a pre-diabetic state at this point, and a lot of them are undiagnosed. So the purpose of this program is that we are, as a team, with the Alumni Association and with Novo Nordisk and some of our other partners and sponsors, we are tackling the pandemic known as obesity, and we're glad to have you join us today in this crusade against obesity. So I wanted to, kind of defer to some of your expertise, because your program, of course, talks about overcoming obstacles in life and staying focused and winning battles one day at a time and doing all these things. But one of the things that we as Americans especially do is that we get so busy trying to fight the daily grind, the battles, work, career, family, relationships, you name it. We don't take the time to necessarily get the proper nutrition. There are so many different options there. There's a quick lifestyle, there's fast food, there's prepackaged meals. And also there's an emotional side that comes with all of this baggage that we have that we put on ourselves as Americans. So I wanted to ask you, we'll start with the emotional side. Tell us about how we can develop, as Americans, how we can develop healthy habits to manage our emotions and avoid binge eating.
Well, I think emotionally, I think a lot of that contributes. Majority of it contributes to people getting into those binge eating. And right away, Richard, I think about I think about a Nutty Professor. Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. If anybody remember that movie, and he was sitting on the sofa, and he had a big tub of ice cream and had the M&Ms. He poured the M&Ms up to his mouth and he eat the ice cream. He's sitting there crying and watching Richard Simmons at the same time. So, again, that scene right there, is emotional binge eating. He had a down moment, and first thing we want to do is go eat. And then all of a sudden, we come back to ourselves, just like the Nutty Professor, and we get tired of that person looking in the mirror, displeased with what we see, and we start saying to ourselves, yes, I can. Yes, I can. He got about the sofa and he went out there and started working out, man. So that's why your emotions, you got to be around situations, even people who motivate you. Okay, forget about if that person already has a six-pack abs, they already look like they're supposed to look. You know what? That's what you need to be around, because what it motivates you. Okay, you need that accountable partner. That partner that will say, hey, come on, get up, get up again, using another professor. Just like Richard Simmons was talking to him, even though Eddie Murphy was playing Richard Simmons in that movie. But the point of the scene was the TV was the Nutty Professor's accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say, yes, I can, until he heard Richard Simmons on the television, which Eddie Murphy was playing Richard Simmons, says, come on, get up. Yes, you can. Say, yes, you can. And then all of a sudden he said, yes, I can. So that's why you need to hang around people who are doing it at a high level, whether it's obesity, whether it's getting in shape, fitness, whether it's money, finances, family life. You always need to have a model. You need to have a model that you can mentor, or a model that you can follow, should I say. You can follow. So yeah, that emotional state, Richard, yeah, that's something that we constantly got to fight. Even myself, man, there are times when I think we all go through a little bit of depression, depending on what's happening, get down. I'm here in Atlanta, and it was raining today. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but sometimes when you see them gray clouds in the sky, for some reason it just make you kind of like gray inside, So you kind of get down and you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing nothing today. The next thing you know, you keep going back and forth to the refrigerator,
Yes.
And next thing you know, you're like, I don't ate all this food, So again, staying out of that pothole of emotions. We all have them, but the key is you got to have some kind of way to pull you out, whether that's an accountability partner, somebody you can call, or maybe it's a song or some music that you play that get you up and get you moving, But yeah, I agree, Richard, that emotional, majority of our problems come from not being able to overcome that emotional state.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. Now, I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to kind of piggyback on something that actually you referred to the Nutty Professor as sort of like I guess you could say the breaking point where someone says, you know what, I'm going to commit to this, and like you see yourself in that light, right? One of the things that we currently have, especially in USA, is an addiction to social media. And I spoke about this on our last episode, and where we talked about the positive and negative impacts of social media on health and wellness. And this is just my perspective, and I want to see what you think on this. I think there are two sides of the coin, so to speak, for social media. You have, of course, the fat shaming, which is pretty straightforward. You have people who are bullies. They talk about, people that are obese. They call them lazy. They call them sloppy. You don't care. You're just lazy. You're fat slob. You don't try to do anything with yourself. Negative, 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 negative. Everything negative about obesity, because when you learn about obesity and like the root causes of it, it is a medical condition. There's a medical cohort that goes with obesity. Of course, some of it is you have to get up and exercise and use proper nutrition and drink water instead of soda, things like that. But there's also, it is clinically proven that there is a medical condition that some people have where they're more attracted to the type of foods that cause obesity. They have, as you kind of touched on earlier, they have mental health issues that cause them to use food as sort of a comforter. So you have that side. You have the fat shamers. Then what's growing and what's alarming is that, and this is going to ruffle some feathers. Like I said, it is what it is. You have the fat framers. You have people that are literally sitting back and clapping and cheering on obesity and saying, you're beautiful as you are. You're perfect when you're morbidly obese. You don't need to work out. One of the things that I saw on Twitter that really alarmed me, Russell Okung, who's, he played with the Seahawks, and he actually played with the Panthers for a little while too. Russell played at probably around 330 or so. He's down to about 270 with a six-pack now. Yeah. And he posted his picture on Twitter, and people are saying he looks sick. Yeah. And I'm confused. I'm like, wait a minute, how's a man who lost 60 pounds, how does he look sick? He's in great shape. He looks like a tight end now. But there's that side of the coin where people are either glorifying obesity and saying, hey, I'm not going to name names, but I think you know some examples of some celebrities who say, I am who I am. I'm beautiful as I am. I'm good as I am. When you're morbidly obese and you may not have any health conditions, but on the surface, but they're in line right now. They're the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, the heart disease, all of that stuff is cooking. And at some point, you're going to pay the tab for that.
Yeah.
And then you also have the people who attack those who pursue health and wellness, and they make it seem like it's a negative thing. So I want to see what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, you named a whole lot right there. We're going to unpack it, and we may have to revisit some of the questions. But I'll say this: most people, when you look like sick, you're sick. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? After you've gotten yourself in shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is similar to you, myself, when people see us at the end, or should I say, see us once we get to the professional level. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's the end of the movie. All right, they never see the beginning of the movie, the grind, what it takes to get there. So I'm gonna reverse that. Okay.
Okay.
So instead of people looking at us successfully and they not knowing what the grind is, in this situation where a player loses weight and people say, "Oh man, you look sick," I think it's because they saw the person in the beginning. Okay. We've heard the term, you see me at the end. When you came to the movie at the end, when people
Mm-hmm.
don't know about the grind. That's what I was trying to say. When people see us playing professionally, they see us at the end of the movie, the manifestation of what the grind in the beginning. They didn't see the beginning of the movie. All right.
Right.
To
Right.
determine how tough it was to get to the professional level. So again, I'm using that in reverse as far as a person who loses weight. People are used to seeing that person in the beginning of the movie. So when they came in contact with that person, they saw that person, oh wow, you're an offensive lineman, you're big, but truly, none of us were made to carry a certain load. I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just like football, our bodies were not made to play football. We
Mm-hmm.
force our bodies to play football. Okay?
Yes.
Our bodies were not meant to do certain things, but because we want to do that, our body are great at adjusting to it. So again, when you hear people say, "Oh, you lost all this weight, you look sick," it's because they are now seeing that person at the end of the movie versus
Mm-hmm.
beginning. They saw them, okay, they were big. Then
Mm-hmm.
didn't see the transformation, the healthy transformation, the eating right, the cutting out the bad foods. And now what you see is what the body really is supposed to look like, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
that's how I kind of see that stance there. And then when you got people who talk about people, right? Usually, I put it to you like this, use another analogy. I've never heard of a married woman or a married man. Let's talk about married woman. I never heard a married woman say that she does not want a man in her life.
Mm.
I've never seen a married man say, I never want a woman in my life. I could do it all by myself. It's only the people who are not in that situation that bring up that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's the people who don't understand obesity that are talking negative about obesity. Okay, majority of the people. So that's why once they learn about it, because their bodies, maybe they got good genetics and they never had to worry about putting on a pound. They can walk into a particular fast food restaurant and they can eat everything on the menu. Again,
Mm-hmm.
going back to the Eddie Murphy movie, where once he lost that weight, he eating everything.
Yeah.
All kinds of burgers. He's like, you gonna eat that,
Yeah.
Then there are some people where they're like, you know what? If I even think about a burger, it's like I put on 5 pounds. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, usually it's majority of the people who don't experience that are giving the people who are going through it hell. Okay. But like they say, take a walk in my shoes. Take a walk in
Mm-hmm.
my shoes, and you'll get another perspective on what you're really saying. And it's just so many things that I think about that you unpacked. That obesity, it is something that needs to be dealt with, and the great thing about it, we can do it within ourselves. I believe we
Mm-hmm.
just got to fixate, put our minds on something else, and be around the right people. Like you said, get away from the naysayers, and those who are trying to take you down. The old saying is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. That's a lie. That's a lie. So yeah, sticks and stones will break your bones, and words will definitely kill you as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so the other thing you mentioned, some people like to see people like overweight, right? And we live in a world, Richard, where even in medicine, I thank God for doctors. I thank God for the ability to take something that we can't eat in itself, and then we got pharmaceutical companies that can turn it into a tablet, a pill, a powder that can help. But also, I do believe this, just my opinion, that there are certain doctors that don't want you to get healed because they get money off of you staying sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that there's certain types of medications out there that can wipe away all of the things that we struggle with. But the reason why we don't have it is because if we wipe away something, get rid of it clearly, then it's no longer a problem. And when there's no longer a problem, there's no longer a job. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no problem, there's nothing to, what's the old economic supply and
And
demand?
demand. Yep.
So there's no demand for a weight loss pill, then there's no job. Companies go out of business. So at the end of the day, that's why we got to educate ourselves to know what is healthy and what we can do in ourselves to stay off of certain medications so that our body, which is such, man, our bodies are so phenomenal. If we put our bodies in the right element, just like with Tom Brady, people people say, man, how did Tom play so long? I'm like, I tell them, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady got probably every known piece of equipment to recover, to keep you healthy, nutrition. That's why he's doing it. That's why he.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we have the ability. Now, some might not have the financial ability to do it, but there are other ways that you can keep your body healthy and stay off of certain medications that I think you get on this medication, it causes this problem. You got to get on this medication, then it causes that problem. It's like playing checkers. I got to jump here, then jump there, and jump there. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And but no, this is a great topic, and it definitely needed. Obesity is a something that we all got to fight.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you did speak about and like I just love it seems like you been peeking at my playbook here, so to speak, because you did kind of briefly talk about how everyone may not have the financial resources, to have the tools or equipment or supplements or whatever the case may be, in order to be a Tom Brady. I don't have Tom Brady money, that's for sure. I might have, uh, but uh, but one of the things that we know that there is a correlation between obesity and financial status, so to speak. A lot of people feel as though because they're at a lower financial tier, so to speak, in American society, that they don't have the money to invest into healthier eating. So, what are your thoughts on that? And what type of tips and things do you recommend in regard to that? Like, if you're trying to eat on a budget and eat healthy on a budget.
Yeah, that's a great question, Richard. Great question. Like you said, everybody's not blessed to be able to go and eat and shop organically and buy all types of equipment to help keep that weight off. But I do believe there are a few things that we can do that we control. And a
Mm-hmm.
couple things that I'm about to name, the first two things I'm about to name, don't cost no money at all.
Mm-hmm.
No money at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The first two things are just learn how to say no.
Mm.
That don't cost you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That just takes a willpower to say
Right.
no, no, no. Instead of saying yes, I can, say no,
No,
I
I
won't.
can't.
No, I won't pick up that extra sandwich. No, I won't eat past a certain time at night. No, I won't eat that sugary when I know I got diabetes. That's a self will. That don't cost you nothing. Nothing. The second thing is that don't cost you anything. Move, move, get up and move around, walk, have fun, do work at the house. Instead of parking as close as you can to whatever place you're going, try to park as far away as you can and walk and walk, move, move. Those things don't cost you nothing right there. Those first two things don't cost you nothing. Now, okay, now say if you do go into the store and you want to buy something, all right, I think what you can do first and foremost, eat eat in season.
Mm.
Eat in season. A lot of times we eat foods that are out of season, right? So when it's out of season, guess what? It's gonna cost more.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna cost more. So sometimes you gotta have, like you mentioned, playbook. Sometimes you gotta have
Mm-hmm.
a playbook. You gotta say, okay, these are the foods that are in season. Okay, this is what I'm going to eat. Okay, peaches may not be in season right now. Okay, well, apples are always in season, pretty much. So let me eat apples until peaches and plums or fruits or whatever you want to eat, pears or whatever the case may be. So eat in season. The other thing is, I think people can help themselves on a low budget, Richard, is to buy frozen food. Okay, you don't want to buy too much canned food. Buy as much frozen food as you can. All right. And the reason why I say you don't want to eat too much canned food is because canned food, in order for them to can it, they gotta put salt in it to actually keep it so it won't, spoil. So the other big thing I would tell people is to eat protein, because protein really, it aids in weight loss, in my opinion, because when you eat protein, it fills you up. It fills you up. It's a little bit more heavier in my mind. All right. So maybe being on a more of a protein diet will allow you not to eat as much. And I always tell people to drink water. Drink water right before you eat. Drink water. There you go. Because when you drink that water, it's going to fill you up. It's going to fill you up and it's going to make you feel full. Okay. I've heard people going having these surgeries and everything like that, to tie their stomach. And, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, I believe my body that I was given by my mom and my dad, that God blessed, wasn't meant for me to have my stomach tied. But if I do the right things, now that's nothing against nobody who does that. If you got to do that, then it's what you got to do. Okay. But I believe if I do the right things, and I'll put it to you like this, Richard, and this is a statement that people can use for life, period, not just obesity or things that we do when it comes to eating. This is a blanket statement for life. The reason why you are sacrificing right now is because you were disobedient before. So, in a nutshell, sacrifice is that which obedience would have prevented.
Awesome. And how can our viewers, how can they find you on social media?
Oh, very easy, very easy. I always tell people, if you can remember my first name and my last name, or my first name, my last name, and my football number, Tyrone Poole 38, all social media. So you got me. So Tyrone Poole 38, all social media.
Outstanding. Tyrone Poole, it is a pleasure an honor and a privilege, my brother, to have you. We definitely gonna have you back at some point because you have so much to offer. I don't even think we got it all in. I think this is gonna be something. I should have asked him this. We're gonna definitely keep in touch with you. Make sure you guys check out workthatthing.com. Also the support the Tyrone Poole nonprofit organization, all the wonderful things he's doing there for underserved children in the community, our bedrock, our future. And we need to support this brother in his mission and all that he's doing. He's doing so many wonderful things. We're so grateful to have you as a part of this team, brother. And we look forward to continue to work together. And we're definitely glad to have you there in the backfield in this battle against obesity, man. Absolutely.
I thank you, man. I appreciate it. And, it's great to be here, Richard. And I hope that all those who listen got some great information that will help you battle whatever it is you're battling, obesity, diabetes, whatever it is. I want you and we want you to be the best that you can be.
Having a coach actually is a great thing, to be honest with you, in my mind, because the coach is going to always hold you accountable. A coach ain't going to be your friend. A coach is going to tell you the truth no matter what happens, and he or she are going to motivate you to be able to be a better person, no matter how mad you get at them, no matter how much you want to maybe yell and curse them out. They gonna still be the same person. They gonna come back the next day. You ready to work harder than what you did yesterday? And you ain't gonna have no choice but to respect them and continue to do what you do with them.
Exactly. I actually have a coach and a mentor, and both of them are so important. It's such an important part of your journey. And a coach holds you accountable, and you want to find you a coach that has already accomplished what you want to accomplish. So they're able to see things that you're not able to see. If you get you a coach that have already walked the path, so your path can be easier. So get you someone that can speak life into you, someone that can guide you, someone that has a system that's going to work for you, right? So having a coach and a mentor more so helps me with mindset and that spiritual walk. And then my coach, of course, not just the weight loss coach, but just the overall business coach, business experience. So if that's something that you have been hesitant about, invest in yourself. It's a seed. I know coaches aren't free, but when you sow a seed, you can expect a harvest, right? Sow a seed, get you a coach, and I promise you it'll be life-changing.
Now is your time to be coached by an NFL alumni for free. Go to tackleobesity.com.
and Coach Whitney and Quentin Wheeler. So phenomenal. Make sure you follow them on social media. We'll put that in link below as well. No time like the present. Let's go ahead and bring him on. World-renowned ear, nose, and throat specialist, double board certified, migraine specialist, the man with the golden hands, Mr. Kevin. I'm sorry, Dr. Kevin Smith. There he is.
Did I need
do
I have my Michigan sweater on today? How you doing?
Gee,
Richard?
I wonder what he's doing the rest of his day. How you doing today, Dr. Smith?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, it's such a pleasure and an honor to have you. Full disclosure to everyone, Dr. Smith and I have known each other for what's going on almost 20 years now, I believe.
Yes.
We're pretty close to that, believe it or not. Because my son was a newborn when you and I met, and he just graduated high school this year. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Time flies.
Congratulations.
So, first of all, Doc, just want to kind of enlighten everyone about your background. I mean, I could spend all day speaking about your background, but just tell our viewers who you are and what's your mission with your practice.
Great. Yes, I am a double board certified otolaryngologist or ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I also do facial plastic surgery, and I've been doing it for 30 years. On my ear, nose, and throat side, I've really had an evolution in my practice whereby I have gained so much knowledge in the area of the head and neck that I'm able to address causes that we're going to speak about today from its root cause, and not putting band-aids on things and simplifying things by looking at, for instance, I know we're talking about obesity, we're going to talk about nasal problems and migraines, and it's all tied together. The nose and the throat are very important, and they have to work properly in order for you to function properly. And when they don't, you end up with things like snoring and being fatigued at night or during the daytime because you don't sleep well, or having headaches and migraines and sinus problems. So I'm an expert in that area. That's what I do, and I'm very proud of the work that I do. I hope that summarizes it for you.
Absolutely. Doc, one of the things, I'm just going to jump right into this because, as you know, our mission here is we're focused on obesity. But what we know, I like to speak in football jargon because that's just who I am. We know that obesity is basically the head coach of team death. That's the way I describe it. And it has several players within that team. And one of them is, of course, sleep apnea.
Yes.
And I like the way that you eloquently explained to me how sleep apnea was, because I was one of those guys that, I have a CPAP machine. I'm good. I'm perfectly fine with the CPAP machine. But you explained to me, I'll never forget this analogy. You said having a CPAP machine was similar to putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. So can you kind of explain what do you mean by that?
Well, here's how I approach it in my office. If you come in with sleep apnea, first and foremost, I need to examine your nose. I need to get a CT scan of your sinuses to look to see if you have abnormalities like a deviated septum or large turbinates or anything that might block the nose, polyps, things like that. Because you want to address those things first. Before you even consider putting a mask on a nose, you have to know if the nose is open and functioning like it should function. In other words, like I said before, you have to get down to the root cause. What is the root cause of this sleep apnea? So when I've examined the nose and looked at the CAT scan, if you have a problem, I correct the nose with my special technique that allows someone's abnormal nose to become normal. Now they're breathing well through their nose. The second thing is I have to look at the throat, because the throat is comprised of a tongue, tonsils, palate, uvula. Those are structures that can get enlarged and cause you to have partial obstruction of your throat. And when that happens, you're going to be snoring. You're going to be stretching those tissues, which makes the snoring worse, makes the obstruction worse. So when I find that you have any of those structures, that need to be reduced, you reduce those, and the combination of making sure the throat and the nose are optimized. A lot of times I get people off of a CPAP. And that just proves to me that it's the root cause of the problem that you need to address, and not jumping first to a CPAP mask or getting an implantable device with the app that goes with it that helps to tighten up the structures. You can do that, but only after you have come to me to find out if your nose and your throat are optimized.
It makes perfect sense to me, Doc. It makes perfect sense to me. So, can you talk about, what are some of the contributing factors to sleep apnea? How does this condition develop? Like, what leads to it?
Well, there are a lot of factors that kind of tie in with one another. Let's just say if the nose and the throat aren't working optimally and you're not sleeping throughout the night, then you are sleep deprived after about a week or so. And that can go on for years in some cases. And when that happens, you're too tired to work out. You're too tired to exercise. You're looking for a quick meal. And those quick meals aren't usually the healthiest. So it's like a cascade of problems that continues to multiply time after time after time, because you just don't have the energy to put forward in order to get yourself healthy. That's the easiest way to explain it. Once you're tired and fatigued, you're just tired and fatigued. And then you start gaining weight, which means your nose and your throat starts to become even more crowded, which means you're going to be snoring more, sleeping less, and it just compounded. So how do you combat that? Again, you make sure that the nose is open, make sure the throat is open. You have to go to an ENT doctor that understands that. I'd love for those people here in the Houston area, or even not in Houston. I have patients that come from all over the country to see me. But you come and get those things addressed. I also talk to people about what they do eat. And I refer people to this movie I really liked, which changed the way I started to eat, called What the Health on Netflix. I don't like to browbeat people. I don't like to lecture folks. But I thought that movie is a good start to let people know what they're eating and how eating the right fresh fruits and vegetables, more of those than anything else, can help reverse a lot of the medical problems that we have. Food is actually your medicine. And so I think this time of year, coming on the end of 2023 is a good time to take an inventory of what you eat. And if you can minimize the processed foods or eliminate processed foods from your diet and lean more toward fresh fruits and vegetables, then that's a great start, because that's going to mean you're going to be putting more things in your body that's more nutritious. You'll see the pounds come off. You'll start having the combination of seeing me for the nose and the throat problems, along with eating right. You'll have more energy, which allows you to exercise, which allows you to feel better. You'll function better around the house and better at work. And just your whole life is going to improve drastically.
And this is just amazing how all these things kind of tie together, because
they do.
And I gotta give you your flowers, because when you enlightened me about how important it is to breathe properly and how that correlates to your sleep, that was a huge part of my personal journey. I'm very happy to say I just crossed the 120-pound weight loss mark.
That's incredible.
Since I started this, still work in progress, but we're getting there.
But that's very good for your listening audience to hear. I mean, it is a process. You won't lose it overnight. You have to change the way you think about it, which then changes your behavior, which then allows you to see the pounds drop off. And then you get the reward and you feel so proud of yourself because you've accomplished something and you're healthier.
Right. Absolutely. But it was a pivotal moment where, you reach a plateau and you can only do so much when you're not breathing correctly. And one of the things that, you brought up to my attention was, well, how you sleeping and how's your breathing? And once I started doing some analysis, and actually not endorsing their product because you don't pay us yet, Fitbit, you need to reach out to us. But I do have a smartwatch. I'll say that I have a smartwatch that monitors my sleep activity. When I started monitoring that, I can see the patterns of when I was getting, proper sleep versus when I wasn't. And I go back to my smart scale and see, oh, these are the days where I'm losing weight and body fat. These are the days that I'm not. Well, guess what? I probably would, it was almost a 1-to-1 correlation of sleeping to weight and fat loss. And
Yes.
obviously, breathing obstruction is a part of that. If you have obstructed breathing, you're not going to sleep well. You're not sleeping well. You're not going to experience the calorie loss that you do while you're able to get into deep sleep mode. So
Right.
that was just some critical information that I learned from you through this
Yeah, it all
process.
ties together. It really does, Richard. It just, everything is linked. And again, I stress the fact you want to get down to the root cause. What's the root cause of my problem? And let's address that. And once you address that, more times than not, you're gonna come out on the winning side.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that you've also enlightened me about, and as I mentioned, we were together during Super Bowl last year, and we were able to meet with Terrell Davis. But of course, Terrell doesn't fit the mold at all, for when it comes to being obese. I mean, he's still in phenomenal shape. He looks like he could tote the pill right now.
I know.
But you did share the fact that there is some correlation between obesity and migraines. Can you enlighten us on that?
Well, first of all, I discovered that the migraines are caused by abnormalities in the nose. I mean, similar to a COVID test swab, I tell people it's the easiest analogy. When you go get those original COVID tests and they shove it into your nose, it's very painful. And it's painful until you remove it. Well, there are specific abnormalities in the nose that can cause this severe pain that people suffer from. And I've cured a lot of people and eliminated migraines in a host of people from all over the country over my decades of practice. And it's very rewarding. But let's think about it. When you do have a migraine, of course, that's going to limit your activity. You're not going to be as active. You're going to be sitting around the house. You have the blinds down. You have the lights off. You're in a room by yourself. So you're inactive. You can't do anything. That leads to weight gain. In addition, if there are abnormalities in the nose and you're not breathing well, oftentimes these people, again, will have trouble sleeping and have the snoring and the sleep apnea. So that's how those two things are linked. And once you come to my office and we do the scan and we scope the nose and we identify the abnormalities, correct them. I correct them with a procedure that takes about an hour. It's covered by insurance. And usually by the end of the week, folks they never say they have any, well, most people will say they just had some discomfort. They didn't have a lot of pain with the procedure. But shoot, after 2-3 weeks, invariably person after person comes and tells me, Dr. Smith, I sleep so much better now. I have so much more energy now. I'm able to exercise now. I'm able to be more clear at work and be more productive at work. I'm able to get a job now. Some of them were depressed and disabled and couldn't even work.
Mm.
So it's very, very rewarding, and it's very important, again, to understand after my decades of work, I have discovered that chronic migraines and chronic headaches stem from abnormalities in the nose that usually result from some type of injury. And you're not being former athletes, we played contact sports for a long time, and oftentimes you don't have to break the nose to develop the abnormalities. You just get smacked on the tip of your nose and splinter the septum, or cause a problem in there, and it can lead to a host of other problems down the road that a lot of people don't even think about.
Amazing that how all these things go hand in hand, and it's like a domino effect. You guys are you seeing a common thread here? It's like one thing leads to another, and then they categorically snowball together. That's why these conditions, seem to escalate. That's the scary part with all of this, is that one thing leads to another, and at the same time, you have not one snowball, you have several snowballs rolling downhill at the same time, and you have a huge avalanche at the end of it.
There you go. That's as clear as you can explain it. And it's very important too. I encourage people. I've worked on this for years. I'm pretty much an expert in this area, and if any way people can come to see me, that way you won't have to waste a lot of time seeing multiple doctors trying to get the right answer. You come to me, you'll find out if you have the abnormalities or not, and if you do, we fix it, and then you're on your own to improve. So if you're not getting the answers that you've heard from me today from your ENT doctor, then come see me.
And you mentioned, Doc, that let's say I'm not in the Houston area, and I want to consult with you. If I recall correctly, you have to speak. You have to speak on the technical terms here, but they can get like a scan and send you the scan, and you can review it and kind of give them an idea. Like, can you explain that?
Thank you so much for speaking on this. Something that I really love about my office and I've instilled is that we like to be very efficient and effective in assisting people in the very best way we can. So if you don't live in the Houston area, you still have access to my expertise by sending me a sinus CT scan, or if you had a brain scan, it may show the nose, sometimes it doesn't, but ideally, if you can convince your primary care doctor to get a sinus scan, you can send it to me and I'll review it complimentary. I'll review it, let you know if you're a candidate for my procedure, give you a call, talk about what needs to be done, and then we're off to the races. We really pride ourselves in helping people. And if that allows folks to have access to me because I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm looking for and I know how to fix it, then I'm all for that. And I hope people will seize that opportunity.
Absolutely. 30 years in the business. I mean,
Yeah.
it's your resume and your background speaks for itself. And it's amazing how you just very subtly mention the fact that you're a facial plastic surgeon. That's just that's a very huge distinction that you kind of threw on as an appetizer. But talk to me about your facial plastic surgery business.
Well, over the years, I've narrowed it down to mainly doing upper and lower eyelid surgery when people have puffy eyelids or big bags of the lower eyelids. Those can be gotten rid of with a quick procedure. I also do facelifts. I can do a facelift or a neck lift or a combination of face and neck lift where we tighten up the skin and the jaws and reestablish a nice sharp jawline for men and women. And then rhinoplasty is a big one too. So when I correct the inside of the nose, oftentimes people will come and say, while you're there, doc, can you take the hump off my nose? Can you narrow my nose? Can you do certain things like that? And those are things that can be done at the same time. And so it allows me to be creative in a sense. I'm a creative person as well as a very didactic in what I do. So it allows me to actually, I call it sculpture class. The morning that I do those procedures, I said, I get a little sculpture class at the end of the day, a little artwork. So that's how I look at it. I have an artistic eye, and I base my results on a very natural look. You won't look operated, but you will look better and improved and refreshed.
Wow, there's so many wonderful things going on at the Smith Center. So
yeah.
Tell the viewers how can they contact your practice?
My phone number is 713-795-0600. My website is kevinsmithmd.com. And on Facebook, there's dozens of video testimonials, and that would be Smith Center is the Facebook handle. And Instagram is @Smith Center. So Smith Center and kevinsmithmd.com and 713-795-0600.
And you've been on several national talk shows. I recall you were on the doctors.
Yeah.
Talking about several different topics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're looking to do more of that too. I tell you, it's whenever you get national exposure, it just allows you to access so many more people, and that's when we started getting people from all over the country coming in to see me, and they still quote the show and mention the show when they come in. They say, "Oh, I first saw you on the doctor's show," or CareStream, not CareStream, but there's another app where I was on with Dr. Sanjay Gupta talking about the migraines as well, Share Care. And there's a nice video of us discussing migraines and how to get rid of them and what I do to eliminate them.
Just something else just came to mind as I think about your Wolverines, potentially coming to Houston. I'm thinking about. He just said, "Yeah." He perked up when I said that. I'm thinking about athletes because one of the things that I also learned, from you is that proper breathing improves athletic performance.
It does, Richard. And this is a byproduct of what I do when I correct people's noses. I've had a few athletes come in. They had headaches or breathing problems or sinus problems. I fixed their nose and their performance improved. one kid from Strake was a receiver in his senior year. He'd always had a trainer for about 10 years. And then after he had his procedure done, he excelled, and his trainer noticed he was just much more explosive. And he ended up breaking the receiving record at his high school and ended up one of the top 10 receivers in the state of Texas. And
Wow.
so, and that's what got me to thinking. I said, you know what? Breathing is fundamental. And athletes who exert themselves think they're performing at their optimal level, but you absolutely will, and you only will, if you see me, have me examine your nose to make sure it is functioning properly. Because all an athlete knows is what they know. And like I mentioned earlier, we play contact sports. We've been hit in the nose. We've sustained nasal injuries and just bounced back up. But nobody during my annual physical ever in high school or college said, let's get a scan of your nose. If it's got some problems, we're going to have the doctor fix it. So now you're breathing better. And when you breathe better, it's the most efficient way to breathe for an athlete. It allows more oxygen to get to the muscles. You're going to perform better. You're going to last longer. You're going to recover quicker. And, you know, in the case of a professional athlete, you can say that it'll extend their careers. And even, you know, kids in high school can get scholarships to go to college. And college kids can get professional careers. So it's just from track and field. You can imagine track and field, soccer, basketball, football. They all need to be screened with a sinus scan. Send it to me. Let me look at it, or come to the office. For those kids that are in Houston area, just come into the office, make an appointment, and let's make sure that you are breathing optimally so that you can truly have the very best peak athletic performance that you can achieve.
Okay. Well, Doc, I just want to thank you again for joining us here on the Tackle BC show. We're so glad to have you as a teammate.
Well, thank you so much.
in this battle against obesity. I know that you're excited about your Wolverines, so I'll be remiss if I don't ask for you to give me a prediction.
Yeah, you know, I think this year the Wolverines should handle Alabama. You know, Alabama got beat by Texas at home, and so they're vulnerable, and they almost got beat by Auburn. Should have got beat, and Auburn I think was unranked. So I think we should beat Alabama, and then you know, it's just a matter. You know, and I think the last year's game against TCU ought to make sure that they don't take anybody for granted. You know, and of course you never take Alabama for granted, but yeah, I think it ought to be a very good game, and then we ought to be seeing the Wolverines match up with either Washington or Texas in Houston.
Going to be a very exciting. I picked the Wolverines over Alabama, but I'm going with the Dogs for the upset over Texas.
Okay, you know,
and I'll admit I'm a little biased because I don't like UT, but I think the Wolverines and Washington would be a deceptively good national championship game. Yeah. In that scenario, I would pick the Wolverines over Washington, but I think that would be a great game. I think there's just two up-tempo teams, and they put up a lot of points. It'll be a very exciting national championship.
I mean, that quarterback for Washington, oh my goodness, he can drop balls in there. Like
kind of reminds me of a young Warren Moon.
That's right. You're exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Doc, thank you again. You know, we're so grateful to have you. We wish you and your Wolverines the very best. We hope to have you back on at some point in 2024. And again, you know, thanks for being a part of the team.
Thank you so much for
and everyone out there. Thank you for joining us again. It's been a wonderful year. We're so grateful to have you. This is it for 2024. We're going to kick off 2025. Our first guest of 2025. I can't share it with you, but I guarantee you've seen this man before. He shared the screen with some guy named Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'll leave it at that. So that's a little that's a cliffhanger. We'll see what comes of it in 2024. We're gonna let our quarterback take us out, the one and only Randall Cunningham. Thank you again for joining us on Tackle Obesity Show. We will see you in 2024.
This is the NFL Alumni Tackle Obesity Challenge, and here's the deal. We need to inspire kids to recognize the importance of tackling obesity And I'm happy to try to be a part of this cause. It's an epidemic across the U.S. and the world, of course, as we know it. But I want everyone to endorse the NFL Alumni Tackle Obesity Challenge and its efforts to curb obesity, because it is a problem in the world, and we've got to really help people out. So let's make sure that we're doing our part. All right. This year we can expand our program to serve the public, and as a team, we've worked together supporting the cause for 3 years, and are heading into the 4th year. So become a part of it and let everything know. And there'll be something good in Las Vegas at the Super Bowl this year to tackle obesity. It's an honors event, and of course, I hope everything goes well. Even if you can make it. All right, Randall Cunningham reaching out.